Okay, that sounds like a threat. Where is this, by the way? This is Palestinian protesters taunting American police officers by calling them pigs. So I don't know which city this is. I know that this is in the U.S. I don't know which city. If you do know, please let me know as well. But that last part sounds like a threat. Oink. Okay, so oink oink piggy piggy to the police. That is, that's an insult. But we will make your life shitty shitty. That is a direct. Is that? Am I exaggerating? Is that a direct threat? How are you going to make their lives um shitty? Okay, but so this is obviously the reason why we're showing this is to actually demonstrate a lack of respect for the police, and also therefore a lack of respect for the rule of law. But why is that important? Why is a respect for a rule of law important? Are we just bootlickers? Like, are we just like people who submit to authority, people who submit to the force of the government? Is it always good to respect the rule of law? Well, no, it's not actually. Me coming from Iran, will actually disagree with you. With anybody who says that we should always respect for the rule of law. I mean, a lot of you also understand that, for example, respect for the rule of law under, I don't know, Nazi Germany, that is not something to celebrate. Under the Islamic Republic of Iran, that is not something to celebrate. So there are certain situations where we actually respect people who disrespect the rule of law, people who are challenging the rule of laws, right? So, for example, in Iran, the protesters who are challenging or disrespecting or violating the rule of law, we actually celebrate those people. But why are we hypocrites? Do we have double standard? Why don't we do that with people in the U.S.? Why, Armin? Why do you have a double standard? Why is it that when Iranian protesters are violating the rule of law, you're like celebrating that? But when in the United States, when somebody is insulting the police or is anti-police or anti-the rule of law, anti-rule of law, you're saying that is not good. What can you guys tell me the difference? The difference is one of them is a government that is representative of the people. There's two conditions for us respecting the rule of law: a government of the people, by the people, for the people, if the government is actually reflective of what people want. Two, if the government is actually serving its people. Imagine how ungrateful do you have to be. So why is the rule of law important? The rule of law represents the stability for things that are working. When you are anti-rule of law, you're basically against all the framework and everything that is keeping the system that you're living in together. When you're against that, you're basically against the stability, the safety, and the prosperity, and everything else that people are enjoying in that environment, in that society. You're threatening all of that. So when you say somebody saying oink oink piggy piggy, we will make your life shitty shitty, that is not just an insult. That is a threat to every single one of you people who are living there, because they are attacking the entirety of the structure. The entirety of the structure. Right? So why is that okay if it happens in Iran? Because the structure that is in Iran, the government, should be threatened because it's not serving the people, and because it doesn't reflect, it is not a representation of the will of the people. But the structure in the US, in a liberal country that is working, how ungrateful do you have to be? How ungrateful do you have to be? Do you understand that as a US citizen, you're enjoying the best of lives compared to most of the planet? Do you understand the opportunities that you have? Do you understand the stability that you have? Do you understand the safety that you have from the police that you're insulting here? Imagine you coming with your backwards beliefs from somewhere else in places that are not working, that the society is not as representative and working as the United States, and you with your backward ideas are challenging a system that is working for most of its citizens. You should be grateful. You should be thanking your police officers. They are the ones that are keeping all of this together for you. And this reflects a unity between two forces. Among all the forces that are now existing in the world, among all the ideologies, What are the two that are trying to break the system? To break the system is woke leftism right now, because Marxism is like old now. Woke leftism is an advanced version of Marxism, which also targets society culturally, not economically, not just economically. But you have woke leftism and Islam. But these two are looking at so-called Western countries, and they want to break it. They want to break it, but for two different reasons. And this is what leftists don't understand. Leftists, if they want to break things, they want to break things for the sake of breaking things, because they're anti-authority, they're anti the order. When they call what they refer to as Western imperialism or Western colonialism, we refer to as the world liberal order. And by them wanting to break that, they want to break basically everything, all the structures that has made the world so much better in the past 100 years. All the improvements that we have had that has made the world a much more peaceful and prosperous place in the history of civilization, they want to attack that. And they call it Western imperialism. We call it the world liberal order. But they're just anti-authority. But they're uniting with a group of people called Islamists, referred to as Islamists, because they also want to break the exact same thing. That's the reason between the unity of these two groups, because they also want to break the exact same things. But what the leftists don't understand is that the Islamists are not anti-authority. They just want to replace the liberal authority with an Islamic authority. And once the Islamic authority is in charge, these leftists are going to be the first victims of it. The leftists are going to be the first victims of it. But in this phase, they're both anti-authority. They're both anti the rule of law, because that's what is keeping your system together. And if you want to defend it, you have to defend the rule of law. This is why it's so important as citizens of North American and Western European countries, and also Japan and South Korea and Taiwan, for you to defend the rule of law, because that's what is holding everything together. And this is why a woman like that who's chanting oink oink piggy piggy, that's why she's a threat. Islamists are not against the rule of law. They're just against this liberal rule of law, both internationally and domestically in these Western countries. But they're not against the rule of law. If they have the upper hand, they will bring the rule of law, but the Islamic rule of law, referred to as Sharia. And again, we Iranians have had experience with all of this, on steroids. This is what the Islamic Revolution in Iran was in 1979. Leftist Marxists uniting with Islamists, bringing down the order of the country, destroying the Pahlavi dynasty, and then the Islamists, leftists have a revolution fetish, because they just want to break things for the sake of breaking things. Usually when people do revolutions, like the French Revolution or other revolutions or the American Revolution, is because they don't want to break things for the one they want to break the order that is not letting them progress. They want to actually build things. They want to break the barriers to building. But when the leftists, when Marxists and woke people, when they have a revolutionary fetish, they want to break for the sake of breaking. They just want to do a revolution. They have a revolution fetish. But the Islamists, they also want to build. They just want to build their own Sharia empire. And in Iran, these people, the same, when she says oink oink piggy piggy, we had these leftists and Islamists in Iran. They were also against the rule of law. They violated the rule of law that was working during the Pahlavi dynasty, that was making the country progress, and they brought the entire system down. And then the Islamists came to power, and they brought their own rule of law. And the same leftists that helped them, the Islamists, with the revolution, were the first on the execution line.